the live, and I think we can start. Yeah, now we are on YouTube. So let's start. Good afternoon, YouTube. We are here for another English immersion. The topic of today is about immigration and integration. So it's not an easy topic to discuss, but it's an important one. So we are gonna discuss a little bit about this, okay? But before that, before I start with the presentations, actually, let me just say my name. My name is Warley. And before the presentations and start actually the immersion, let me just explain a little bit about the platform for you that are seeing us on YouTube and doesn't and you don't understand, for example, what is happening here and what is immersion and what is talk and talk. So, in a general way, Talk and Talk is a conversation platform for beginner, intermediate, or advanced speakers. And these kind of conversations that we have here are for all levels. So there is no problem. Your specific level of English or another language is no problem. We are here for learn together. And the main point here, that is not a regular class. I'm not an English teacher or a Spanish teacher or a language teacher at all. I'm here as well to learn with you and to practice my English. And we are here to teach you anything directly, but you learn by practice in a real environment and with a real conversation and with a real topic as well, okay? And you will develop actually your fluency and mainly your confidence as an English speaker in this case. Besides English, we have a lot of language here. We have Spanish, we have Italian, French, German, and Mandarin as well. So we have a lot. Actually, I think in English is Chinese, is not Mandarin. Actually, it's in Portuguese. So we have a lot of language here, and you can find that and you can see that on the Talk and Talk website. Okay. So that's all for the platform explanation. And to start, I would like to introduce myself for you. So my name is Warley. I'm 25. I live in Recife, Pernambuco. I work with IT as a front-end developer. And I'm also an English and Spanish host here on Talk and Talk. I'm here since 2022. I have started with Spanish. And nowadays I'm focused more on developing my English skills. And yeah, that's all for me. Wanda, can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Wanda from Niterói, Rio de Janeiro. I'm a dentist. Two sons, one grandson, one daughter-in-law, and two cats. In my free time, I used to be a scuba diver. And what else? I love nature. Is that for now?
Nice. I think we need to have courage to be a scuba diver, I think, because actually I don't know how to swim and I don't like this amount of water. So yeah, I think you are a curious person. That's nice. It's a nice thing. And how about you, Glenda? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Good afternoon, guys. My name is Glenda. I'm 24 years old. I'm not as adventurous as Vanda, and I work with education. I guess that's it.
Amazing, amazing. So let's start with the question number one. Actually, let me accept Juju here. She's coming at the time exactly. So let me admit her here, and let me see. Just for her to have the presentation, and you can follow the questions. Just a second. Hey Ju, how are you doing? Can you hear me? Your mic is off if you are talking. I can hear you.
Oh,
She's left. I don't know if it's our
the
connection, but
connection.
if
Probably.
and yeah, maybe. Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Let's continue and if she request here, I will accept. I accept her, no problem. So let's go with the question number one. What are some of the biggest challenges immigrants face when moving to a new country that you can think right now, or the mainly one? I don't know. What do you think, Fanda? I'll start with you.
For me, I think the biggest challenge is be accepted, because the immigrants is not easy accepted in or another country. For me, is that the biggest is that to be accepted.
Yeah. Do you think do you think it depends of the immigrant and the country that they are
Yeah,
going, for example, should they find the biggest challenge? What do you think about that?
yeah, and depends of the country, the laws of the country, depends of the immigrants, depends many things, has a really huge prejudice too with the country that the immigrant come from. I think it is really a big challenge to be accepted, to have a space to work, um, get a new papers, new ID is really difficult and almost impossible.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually I don't think we have just one biggest challenge, because in my opinion, it depends of the immigrant, the country that they come from, for example, and the country that they are going to. Because, for example, I think for someone, the biggest challenge could be the language barrier, for example, the language to communicate. And I think other can be related to discrimination and acceptance, I think, and all these ideas. So I think it really depends of the specific points, the country that are the country that they came from, and the country that they are going to. So I think it's hard to define just one biggest challenge. I think actually they have a lot of challenge, It's a complicated point, I guess. So
Yes,
it's complicated.
totally.
Hey, Ju, can you hear me now? I I don't
Hello.
know. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah,
How are you
I
doing,
can hear
Ju?
you.
Is everything okay?
Yeah,
Okay. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I got sick today. I am a little bit quiet. So, but I am here. It's slowly, but I'm here.
No problem, no problem. And actually, it's a Sunday afternoon, so we are a little bit lazy, so that's normal. That's no problem. But it's important to practice and to be here. So it's nice. It's nice to have you here. Can you introduce yourself for us, and we can follow with the questions?
Yeah, but I cannot see the questions on chat.
Yeah, I can send for you again, but before that, can you introduce yourself? I don't know, talk a little bit about you for us.
Oh,
Can
yeah,
you?
great. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Juliana Malaquias. I'm from Rio de Janeiro. I'm 28 years old. I'm a recruiter, also a psychologist. Um, my personal and professional goal was to improve my English this year. Um, that's why I'm here on Talk and Talk. And it's been a great process because besides improve my English, I am meeting some great people in this process. So making some friends and that's nice. to do this with people on the same journey, sharing experiences and knowledge. That's great. So yeah, I'm a simply woman. I like to read sci-fi books and movies too. I think that's it. I guess.
Amazing, amazing, Ju. Can you now see the questions? Yeah, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I will ask for Glenda, and after that, while you are thinking about the question number one, I will go back for you, okay? Um, so Glenda, what do you think about the question number one, about the biggest challenge for immigrants, for example? What's your opinion?
I guess I agree with you and Panda. Besides the acceptance of the immigrants, I can think that one of the biggest challenges that the immigrants can face is like the access to healthcare, education, finding jobs. So I guess there's a lot of problems, but I can think of those.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. As we say here, I think there's a lot of challenges that they face, and it depends a lot of the specific point of the immigrant, and I don't know, for some it can be like language barriers and all the communication point to to have with other people on the country, I think it's a complicated one. And yeah, it can be related to cultural difference. For example, we have a lot of different cultures all over the world. So I don't know, maybe about religion. Actually, I think there is a lot of difference related to that, and it's hard to be accepted on these kind of countries and all this idea. And unfortunately, you have a lot of discrimination on this acceptance of the immigrants. So we have a lot of how can I say preconceito in English? Do you
Prejudice,
know?
prejudice.
Prejudice? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately we have a lot of prejudice about immigrants and some religions and some cultures, So I think it's other complicated points related to that. And yeah, but actually, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't believe that we can say just one biggest challenge because it depends a lot. And for others, it can be like social isolation and all these points. So yeah, I think it's complicated to say just one, but actually, unfortunately, you have a lot of challenge. It's complicated. But okay, and how about you, Ju? What do you think about this and the question number one? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. But the biggest, it's cultural, the cultural, thing, because when you move into uh, meet new people or new countries, you have to deal with it, to learn. You are the foreigner, you have to learn to do this learn process to communicate. So all the points of the list that you list are related cultural um to the cultural point. So I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we have just one biggest challenge, but I think we can say uh actually a group of challenges or a groupment of challenges, and I think it is related to culture, So yeah, I agree with you. I think the most important point is related to this kind of challenge that we have about culture and this difference. So I don't know, some countries and some people are complicated. They have this complicated relation about to accept others, and accept the difference that we have in the world, and it's normal. But for us, a lot of people, this is not. So yeah, I think it's complicated. But yeah, let's go. About the question number two. Let's go to this question. On the other side, we talk about the challenge for immigrants, for example. So let's talk about the other side and about the societies and all the country that they are receiving these immigrations, okay? So how can societies better support the integration of immigrants for you? What do you think, Glenn?
Me?
I
Glenda.
I'm sorry, Glenda, I'm sorry. It's
Okay.
it's it's similar, no? The
Yeah.
pronunciation, I'm sorry. So Glenda, go ahead.
Okay, so I think societies can support immigrants by providing language classes when the language are different, legal assistance so they can have access to education and healthcare, and I don't know, maybe creating programs that includes those people because they're coming far away from another country, so they need this acceptance and they need to feel welcome. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, actually, I'm thinking here because maybe I can say now, thinking about this question, that language barrier could be the most general, biggest challenge, I think, because I'm thinking here that without the language, you can do nothing, you don't you can't get a job, for example, without the language. You can't be accepted without the language. Actually, I think the basis for an immigrant in other country is the language, So maybe now I can change my opinion about the question number one, and maybe the biggest challenge or the general for a lot of the immigrants can be related to a language barrier, I think, because it's the basis. You need the language to get a job. You need the language to be accepted, to communicate with others, and all this stuff. So yeah, I think that, and related to Glenda's answer, I think it does make sense a lot because the societies and all the people from the country and the government, for example, that are receiving the immigrants can do the point of help with language classes, and I think that's the most important point, I guess, because it's the basis. You you can receive well the person, the immigrant, with the language, So I think it's important. It's really important, and it's a good one. For this support, I think it's so important. Uh, but what do you think, Wanda? What's your opinion?
Yes, it's difficult to think about because we live in Brazil, and here we have so many space to receive everyone. And but in countries, small countries in Europe, for example, they fight with immigrant people to to help with their proper culture. For example, a friend of mine lives in Dinamarca. I don't know in English the name. And there is a program to not lose the culture. They don't permit that, for example, Brazilian people lives all in a neighbor only have only Brazilian people. They need to get the immigrate like really Dinamarquese people, and then they put immigration in spots, different spots, and they um, they put it's easy to learn Danish. I think is Danish, and because have many programs to do that. but it's a really organized country, Dinamarca. But for example, United States, there is many ghettos, I don't know in English, in New York for Chinese people. They don't know English for generations, don't know English, and they work together in a place. And I think all the words have all the countries have a Chinatown, and they live there. They live like a Chinese people. They don't want to integrate it to the country. It's a big challenge for the society too. I think you word is crazy. Oh my gosh, many problems.
Yeah, exactly. I totally understand and agree with you because uh even talking about acceptance in countries, we have difference, you know. For example, as you said, here in Brazil, we are more we are more kind, you know, to just to accept the people and all this stuff. For example, in Europe, they have problems with immigrants and a lot of people and the population. They don't like the immigrants, you know. So it's a hard point. People that are that have problem with OR, for example, and all these problems in the country of them, and the people they don't accept the immigrants in the country. So it's a crazy point that we think about that. And but I don't know. Let me ask a question, Wanda. What do you think is the point that explain this point of Brazil, for example, accept well a lot of people and other immigrants, and in Europe, no. For example, why do you think this happened?
I think our culture is not for one kind of people. We have a mixed people. Here, we are black, we are white, we are indigenous, we are Chinese or Oriental. Yeah, I don't know in English. We are all kind. Our passport, for example, have a great value in the black mercado. I don't know. And because the face of the Brazilian is all the faces. And then I think it's easy for us accept another one with another culture, with another religion. Okay, no problem. But for the countries that have a huge culture and a huge feature of the people, and they like to be like they are, I think it's really difficult because integration is I need to lose a little bit of mine and accept a little bit of you. And this is a big challenge.
Perfect, amazing. This concept of like just accept the other and take something of you and accept the others. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing concept. And yeah, I agree with you. I think here in Brazil we have a lot of people, a lot of different people, you know. So I think it's more common and easy maybe to accept others. So yeah, I think all the culture that we have here in Brazil is related to that. So I think it's easy or more easy for us. And yeah, I think we are more kindly. The European, I think they are more I don't know, more alone or I think it's not alone, but it's not kind with as us, you know. So I think it's different. It's a different culture as well. So yeah, it's just difference. That's normal. But what about you, Ju? What do you think about the question number two, related to support and how can societies, for example, better support the integration of immigrants? What do you think?
How can we? Sorry, I cannot understand it.
Is the question number two. How can societies better support the integration of immigrants? What do you think is the most important point to this integration?
Yeah, I was listen to Glenda, and she said about initiatives to support the when they arrive in another country, like um, the first job, and the language classes of the country. This is great. I really agree with her. Um, and that's it. I never have thinking about these points before, so it's kind of difficult to me. But I think I agree. If I am an immigrant in another country, this kind of sport it really help me. So I think that's it. And in Ireland, for example, I know that have this I don't know how can I say incentivo, but these programs for students, they really incen- incentiva uh, students from all around the world with this kind of program, supporting him in his first job or on the language. So I think that's a great way to help.
Yeah, nice. I think you can say the word support to talk about iniciativa in Portuguese, for example. But I think the initiative word exists in English. But I think you can say
Oh,
support, like they support the others or something like that. I think so.
oh,
Um,
thanks.
no, no problem. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the language support is important. As I said before, I think is a basis point for them. And the point of to get a job, for example, I think so important because they will contribute with the country, with a job. So I think it's important, and for them to make money and to have a better life, it's important for them, for the immigrants as well. So I think that's the main point that people can support immigrants, for example. Maybe um, just I think it depends of the country, but for example, if you are going to a so different country that have so different culture for you, I think it will be hard. So maybe like to do workshops, explain a little bit about the culture of the country that you are going to. I think it's important. So, for example, in Japan, they have a lot of difference in culture and in behavior, that we have here. And simple things, like take off your shoes before to enter some place. It's a behavior that we don't have here in Brazil, and it's so common there. So I think it's important to know about the culture and the habits that people have on the country. I think this kind of points is also important. So yeah, I think there's a lot of point, but in general, societies and the government can help and can support a lot the immigrants. And unfortunately, I think they don't do that. They don't do that. So it's kind of complicated. But okay, let's go to the question number. Actually, everyone answered the question number two. Yeah,
I
right?
think Glenda, yes?
Yes, I did.
Answer, yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think she was the first one. So nice. So let's go to the question number three. About language barriers that we are talking about before. Do you think language barriers barriers are the biggest obstacle to integration? Actually, I think I did a spoiler like that in my opinion, but I would like to know about you and your answer. So, do you think language barriers are the biggest obstacle to integration? Why or why not? Um, what about you, Wanda? I will start with you.
Yeah, like I said, Chinese people, for example, don't know nothing in English language, and they are in USA, and no problem for them. And I think the biggest obstacle is the permission to stay there. Because if you are an immigrant without paper, it's really hard to the police, to get work, to get everything, to live in the country is so difficult. For me, the biggest barrier is the permission, the papers to stay there. I think Warley is frozen. Go ahead, Glenda.
Can you hear me?
Ah, yeah, yeah. Come back. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Glenda.
Yeah, let's continue. I guess it was his internet. So I agree with you, Wanda. I think that the papers to be there are a great obstacle. I guess Warley is back.
Go ahead, no
I
problem.
don't I don't know what happened, but go ahead, Glenda. It's no problem. Go.
Okay, Wanda told me to go, so I'm here answering the question. And I said that I agree with her. I guess the papers to be there on the country is a big obstacle. So I don't think language is the biggest one because there are like a lot of challenges as we said on the first question, like the sorry the health, education, and all of those things. So I guess a language is a big obstacle, but not the biggest one.
Yeah, nice point, nice point. Actually, I don't know what happened, but I think I was disconnected.
Yeah.
Maybe it was my internet, I think, but I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry. Uh, and thank you, Wanda, for the support. So I I I I disagree a little bit about this because I think the language is the biggest obstacle and the biggest challenge, I think, in my opinion, because of the base. But I agree with you with the point of we have a lot of other barriers, we have a lot of challenge, and the immigrants they have a lot of challenges. So yeah, it's complicated to just choose one because we have a lot. So yeah, but okay, no problem. And about you, Ju, what do you think about this point of language barriers and the biggest one?
Yeah, I'm with Vanda and Glenda. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Nice point. I think it's the most one. Where just for example, for me, I think the most important point. But okay, let's go to the question number 4. How do immigration policies affect the lives of immigrants and their families? It's a complicated one related to the government and all these measures that they do for the immigrants. For example, I think in Europe, for example, they have a lot, and it's a complicated point and a complicated relation. But what do you think? What do you think, Glenda? What's your opinion?
I think immigration policies can create like barriers. So when you don't give to the immigrant access to basic education or jobs or all those things, you can see like a person who don't work, so don't get money, and I guess that's bad. So I don't know how to answer this question, but I guess that's it for now.
Yeah, I think it's not an easy question because it depends a lot of the country policies and the culture as well. So it's an important point to discuss because it's important on one side to just support the immigrants, and it's also important on the other side to just fit these immigrants and all this point and all the problems that we have with that on the country culture. It's also complicated because uh, it changed a lot a country. The immigrants, for example, they impact a lot on the culture and on the country. So we have impact, Is not just accept them and it's okay and it's easy and it's solved. So we have to discuss about to accept them and to support them to get a job, to learn the language and all this stuff. So it's not just come here and it's all done and it's solved, So it's complicated. It's a complicated point, I guess. But what do you think, Ju? What's your opinion about that?
That's a tough question.
Yeah,
Once
it's hard.
I I watched it on Netflix, a doc. The thing, the subject is this point, the how immigration policies affect the lives of the immigrants of United States. It's I know that it's not accepted because we have to see how can we help, how can we provide some the general stuff that they need, but it's human rights point, I can even describe can they how they feel just watching this doc. So it's difficult when these policies have to send them away from the country. It's difficult to separate families and it's tough. So that it's a tough question. I can give an opinion in this way.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's hard to discuss about that. This specific question, it's hard to talk about because it's related to a lot of things. And I don't know. I think this kind of policy can impact a lot on the immigrants in the immigrants, because for example, a government can create just a law or just some point that can impact on the immigrants get a job, for example, and to work legally on the country. So it's hard. It's hard to think about that because they 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 already have all these problems, all these challenges about language, about culture, about acceptance, about prejudice, and all this stuff. And besides that, they can have uh, other problems to the government with the government with the laws of the country and these kind of policies. So it's complicated to think about that and thinking about the country, for example. I don't know, maybe in the case of United States and Mexico, and all the immigrants that are going from Mexico to USA, for example. It's a complicated one because in United States they don't like the immigrants and all these points. And in some points, I agree and I understand, because in the immigrant, with a lot of immigrants, we in the country, they will have a lot of problems. And the immigrants is not just good people, we have bad people on there, and it's complicated to just accept all of them without a good plan to do that. So it's a complicated topic. It's a complicated topic. And what do you think, Wanda, about that?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think is that if you don't have the papers to stay in the country, you are illegal. And like illegal people, policy go to you and try to get you to the prison because you are illegal. And the police need to do their job. I don't know. I think it is really difficult. I think again is the best challenge to stay in a country with the paper and like a legal people. Because if you have, like my son, for example, he lives in USA. Now he is American, and it's easier for him. He went from here to there and um started to work in Facebook, and now he works in Snapchat. It's easier for him because he have the papers. Another one gets some troubles because don't have papers and goes in illegal mode. It's not good.
Yeah, I think it can be hard if you don't have the all this paper, right? So it's complicated to just I think for everything to do everything, it's harder without this kind of paper and all these things. So yeah, I think it's a complicated one, and I think in some countries it is difficult to get this paper and to have this paper and to be legal. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, really hard to stay legal.
Uh, uh, so to the question number 5. What role
What's the
do
role?
schools
What's the role?
That's a good question. I was thinking about role of uh without the double V, I think, but I think it's not that. Let me check here in the translator. I really don't know.
It seems
Role.
that is role. It's miswritten.
My internet is so bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear,
I don't know if my internet is freezing. I can hear
but
you.
I don't know
Yeah.
what's role.
My internet is so bad that the translation is not working. Let me refresh that.
My mobile phone translated by roll is roll hole. Terrible.
In the translation here is like to remar, the verb. But I think it's not that. Do you know,
Maybe
Glenda,
because
the translation?
roll is ham. I skip this
I
question.
I think it's the word is right
Roll,
in yeah, I think
like
it's
papel.
role as exactly. I was thinking about this, but I was thinking about the word play. So what role do schools and play in help immigrants integrate, you know? I think Ju is right. It's related to role, papel in Portuguese. Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. So I think it's that.
role is okay.
So
Oh,
role with the double V because it's related to remar, you know? So yeah, so let's go with this concept, with this idea. So what role do schools and education play in helping immigrants integrate? Yeah, it does a lot of make sense the word role here. So yeah.
yes.
What do you think, Ju? I'll start with you about this kind of role.
A major role. I think schools, it's a mini part of the society, and by this mission to uh, teach not only students but the whole community, and the schools even must take the lead to integrate, because it's not a question only for immigrants, but all the different people in society. So we have to deal with different opinions, with different cultures, even if it's inside the country, in other regions, you know. And in this way, I think the schools can teach and can play these activities um, with the students, but opens to society. How can we deal and how can we provide uh, understanding of s- let's say of society with different points of view and different experiences. So I think that the schools and education, it's made one of the ways of to make the society understands the integrate. It's the way um, with 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 in this immigrants point. So I think that still the better way to enter inside the families of of the society, of the community, and teaching by the little ones to the older ones how I have forgot the word. How how
How to deal?
diversity, yeah. How diversity society. It's great for everybody. So all the experiences and all the learnings that came from this. And so I think that's it.
Nice point. Yeah, I think it's not about the kids, you know, it's not just the children and to teach them about that, but I think it's the beginning. I think it's important to teach about how to deal with immigrants and how diversity works and how important it is to accept them and to help them and all this stuff because it's the beginning of the point and they will talk about this with their parents and all these pointings. So I think it's important, but it's also important to teach all the people, the older ones, the adults, and all these kind of people because all the population needs to understand about the immigrants and this importance and how to deal with them and how to help and how to support and all this point. So yeah, I think all this education it's important, you know, and helps a lot. And how about you, Glenda? What do you think?
I agree with you guys. I think it's schools is the mainly place that can teach and can be a role to kids and to teenagers, and they can talk a lot about how to combat the prejudice. So when you do those things and talk about those topics, I guess we can create a society more inclusive and by not having discrimination on the diversity. So I guess that's it.
Amazing, amazing. And how about you, Wanda?
I think education is the key for everything, for health, for mental health, body health, for integration, for everything. I love to think about education, and I wish we get a great education here in Brazil, in all the world. Education is for help the nature. Education is the key for everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's exactly this. It's important. Uh, so I think we have time for one more question. It's a quick question. So I would like to jump to the question number 10. I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
So how does immigration affect national identity and culture? What do you think, Wanda? I start with you.
Yes, I think it affect if the people is a small country and a huge culture and a huge, like Japan, for example. If we have many immigrations in Japan, Japanese people don't have kids. The taxa de natalidade, I don't know, birth tax, is decreased in Japan. If they get many other people in a time, in a 2 generations, all the things changed. Yeah, I think that affect, not in Brazil, because you are everything, but in a small country with a huge culture in like the same feature affect.
Yeah, exactly that. I agree. And how about you, Ju?
Yeah, I think that affects a lot because we can see the Brazil history. We have so many groups of immigration, Japanese, Italians, Africans, and we have this mix of culture, experience, and learnings. Even we talk, we have this some words that is in common with the other language that they brings to us, and that makes it beautiful to me. Affect the identity, but not in essence, I think Brazil is the nation uh, that mostly seems that we have that the whole cultures of the world, and we can integrate with certain uh, uh, I how can I say, we can integrate a lot, and most of our stories part of this the immigration that past that of those immigrations. So I think that affects, in my
Nice.
opinion,
And
affects.
Nice, nice. Pretty great, Ju. And how about you, Glenn?
I guess immigration can like reshape the national identity, and by that I say I mean like physical and cultural ways. So I guess that's it.
Amazing, amazing. So guys, we don't have time for one more question. We have other meeting right now. So I sent here the link of the survey. So let me know about the immersion and your opinion. What do you think about the immersion? Okay. I would like to thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well. And I see you on the next time. Okay. Thank you and bye bye.
Thank you.